mbokk jërë ngeen jëf ñu ngi leen di nuyuwaat bu baax am nañ mbégte bu yaatu dalalaat leen tey ci Eyeafrica TV ci seen show bi la di Talk to Eyeafrica show bi nga xam ne yéen a ko tàmmal seen bopp di ko xaar ci àjjuma bu jot bu juróom-ñetti waxtu yi jotee ñu fi faral di dalal ay kilifa di waxtaan ak ñoom ci tolluwaay réew mi waaye itam di waxtaan ak ñoom ci seen liggéey tey ji itam ñu amaat wala fas yéene leen digtalaat épisode bu am solo boo xam ne am nañ ci gan gu am solo gan goo xam ne nag yéen a ko yàgg di laaj ngir mu ñëw Talk to Eyeafrica tey indil nañ leen ko ngir ñu mën a waxtaanee ci yu bëree bëri tey nag dinañ waxtaan ci liggéey yu bëri yoo xam ne mu ngi koy def ci tund bi nga xam ne moom moo ko jiite laata may dikk ci kan la tund bi nga xam ne nag moo ko jiite su ma ko waxee di ngeen xam gan la mooy West Coast Region bokk ci tudd yi gën a yaatu ci réew mi mu jiite ko nag di ci def liggéey bu am solo tey dinañ waxtaan ak moom ginnaaw ba nga xamee ni ñaari at ak lu teg def na ko ci biir boobule tund dinañ waxtaan ci liggéey bi mu ñëwee yi mu fa fekk ndax am na ñu fa nekkoon lan la fa fekk yi mu fa def ak fu mu toll nii tembe ak projet yi nga xam ne itam mu ngi ko nas yooyu yëpp dinañ ci waxtaan ak moom du ñàkk itam ñu waxtaan ak moom ci wàllu politique loolu dinañ ko def dinañ waxtaan ci politique ndax itam tolluwaay bi ak political atmosphere bi loolu itam faaw ñu waxtaan ci yu ci bëri nañ ci waxtaan budget bi lu jëm itam nag ci li nga xam ne mooy doxalin wala nguuru président Barrow bi moom itam gis-gisam dinañ ko ci laaj mbokk yi suñu gan xam ngeen ko ba noppi mooy chairman Yankuba Darboe mooy suñu gan tey chairman welcome to Eyeafrica ñu ngi lay dalal fii ci Talk to Eyeafrica.
Thank you very much Garmi. Kontaan naa trop for the invitation and then maa ngi nuyu yëpp and then nuyu sa colleagues at Eyeafrica. Yes, I'm very happy to be here today.
Thank you. Dañ ko starté which bi nga amee intention to run as the chairman of West Coast Region and on the ticket of UDP dañ toog nga bind nga publish on your Facebook wax intention bi wax tamit ne su application yi opené si sa parti you will apply nga apply ngeen dem ci ni ngeen ko dee defee comme UDP as usual any election buy jot rek application dafay ubbi ku bëgg a dem apply nga apply at UDP ñu tànn la nga nekk seen candidate nga campaign against NPP nga xam ne ñoom ku fa nekkoon doo UDP la bokkoon lately mu dem join NPP bokkutoon waaye NPP amoon na fa candidate ak ñeneen lan moo taxoon nga toog ne da nga bugg a nekk di chairman of West Coast Region lan moo la motivate ba nga wax ne da nga bugg a ron as chairman bëgg nañ nga dikkaat ci décision bi yes.
ok jërëjëf firstly mun naa wax ne suma xarit yi yu ba ñoo ma woon ñu ne ma dañ bëgg a pour ma consider to run for the West Coast Region as a chairman. Time boobu initially I was like I thought they were joking, but you know after dama xalaat the whole idea properly ma gis ne loo xam ne la it was very important pour ma because am nga time boobu def ma fekk maa ngi Angleterre and then maa ngi doon liggéey foofu as a lawyer so gis nga pour nga bàyyi legal job in foofu pour ñëw liggéey as a chairman fii so c'était the salary level is way too different but leena la loo xam ne dafa am solo torop because tundi West Coast Region ñun dañ ñàkkoon a lot on the previous administration because even mbalit sax amutoon mbalit trucks yoo xam ne dañoo collect mbalit from people's houses loolu nekkul amuñu noonu that one and then there was a lot of mismanagement going on so laajee nit yi dañ lay wax ne council bi amul dara and I never believed that so loolu moo tax ma xalaat ko bu baax ma ne I have to go. It's not like danga war a nekk on social media because even time ñu ngi woon si biti we were very much concerned about Gambia. Every time they been them protests and so many things. So this is an opportunity. It's not what you earn, it's what you're going to be able to provide to your people. But more matter much. So loolu moo tax ma ne I have to try. So that's when I made the decision. I also had to have a consultation with my wives about it, and then I didn't get any objection. Everyone supported it, so I decided, you know what, I will give it a try. And then I put up. I remember I posted something to say that I'm going to apply, but if I don't get it, whoever gets it, I will be behind the person. And that was how it started. So from there, my application we went through a very difficult selection process because it was about fukka jurom sort of applicants new apply on. And then I was fortunate, guy tanalma. Then from there, madam into the election, and then come linga the time mun nañ wax ne MPP ñoo amoon toog because Sirifo had switched and then dafa nekkoon MPP. So I came in as an unknown sort of like a politician because time bobu musuma run any office before. But political in the political sphere of Gambian politics, I think I built a little bit of clout there, from the struggle against Jammeh to the 3 years Jotna and a whole lot of other things. So, but that wasn't enough for the people to know you well. So I must say, the opportunity my tunnel UDP, because UDP at that point has already built a very strong base in the region in West Coast. Lulu gis nañ ko even si campagne bi dangaa dem yenn place yi dañ laa wax ne Darboe even su fekkee dafa tànnoon donkey dinañ ko vote moom mu jox ñu nit. So you hear that from people. That tells you ne the work has already been done for us. So léegi it's a matter of so ñëwee si office bi how you going to deliver for the people. And then it was because even time bobu you get some people yoo xam ne dañ laa wax ne Brikama moom dafa tough because guys and come bi bariwut, and then they are in so much debt, and there's a lot of other challenges bu Brikama am because the infrastructure is not there. They don't have equipment for waste management, waste collection. So you're going to start from scratch. That was going to be very difficult. Yeah.
So after loolu yëpp happen nga win election bi. Win ko nag ak large margin. Nekkul da nga ko win ak small margin wala yow da nga ko win bu baax a baax.
And then loolu mun naa ko credit to the campaign messaging. Parce que am na lu ñu waxoon gars yi mooy ne dañu am pax yi yu nekk si council bi foo xam ne foofu la seen revenue bi day disappear. So ñun suñ ñëwee pax yi yooyu la ñu close ñu make sure ne the revenue doesn't disappear. I think that resonated with everybody.
They buy that message.
Because xam nga nit yëpp mun naa wax ne nit yëpp xamoon nañ ne something was wrong at that council. Because ñoom ñu ngi fay seen revenue bi. When then nothing was coming back nekkuñ di gis dara. So wax leen ne dafa am pax yu nekk foofu foo xam ne foofu la seen.
So yooyu da ngeen ko fàtte. Okay, now ñu ñëw ci loolu after message bi comme yaa ngi wax ne comme that victory dafa message campaign message yi dafa am loo xam ne daf ko si play bu baax. So first 100 days yi nga xam ne def nga ko as Brikama Area Council chairman lan nga ñu ci mën a wax du ñàkk am na challenges yenn kii yoo xam ne ak tamit yenn décision yoo xam ne ci biir 100 days bi da nga ñëw rek ne yii dama ko war a def moo xam xëy na loo fa fekk la lu baaxul nga ne this thing dama koy stop immediately ak mi bi daan lan nga ñu mën a wax.
So first issue bu ñu am time ñu ñëwoon balaa ñu ñëw dañ doon xalaatoon ne area council bi am na problème. When we didn't know the enormity of the problem until ñu egga foofu. That's when we realized that wow, fii dega is having a serious problem because we found that all the accounts were in red. So ñoom the way they were running is they were running on overdrafts. So dañu amoon about 7 million overdraft with EcoBank. So that's what they were trying to go on. So you go on to the account, the is minus 6 million 300 and something minus. soon the Fed deposit, it will come down to minus 5 million or minus 4 million. So it was only minuses. You go to the Trust Bank, they were having minus 4 million overdraft. So for Futamit, then they on overdraft. And then Vista, they were having minus 3 million. And all of these things, you can check it with even the banks. They then corroborate all of this. And then you can also check with GT Bank. GT, I believe, because when later on we realized that they were having 7 at Echo, overdraft limit was 7 million. And then Trust Bank was 4 million. Vista and GT Bank were 3 million. So this was what they were running. They were running on that deficit. And then they were also very comfortable with that. Year in, year out, just run on deficit. And then from there, so even with all those overdraft facilities, they still overrun those limits to point that, then they dump to jar oil, and then they will leb halis fofo, pay salaries for December, sometimes November, because that's what they call limping period. So ñun time ñu ñëwoon, so imagine nga ñëw cancel boo xam ne amulu mbali trucks yi nga am, they're not even, because trucks yi yu siri foo jëndoon, trucks yi yooyu yëpp dañu amoon problem time ñun ñu ñëwoon to that cancel. Dañ fekk trucks yi they were all grounded. So the only few trucks bu ñu am mooy trucks yi boo xam ne Dresden moo donate leen those trucks. So Dresden ñoo nekkoon di ron Tambana, they were doing compost and manual processing there. ñoom ñoo donate leen those trucks. So those were the only trucks and one tractor. Tractor boo xam ne belonged to Jambarsane ward of Brikama. So we had to deal with that. So you come into an office and you find with only negatives, no positive. Everything was negative. And you had to start from there. So the first thing you had to think about is, first thing we want to know is, what is the revenue like? Ñaata la gaay day am in a month. We need to establish that. Ñaata lañ day am in a week. And then, su fekkee that money is not coming, lu tax gaay nekkuñ di am xaalis, because am nañ ne this is the biggest region, comme li nga wax from the introduction. Biggest region, boo xam ne nekkuloo di am the right amount of money. So ñu ne, first thing lu ñoo def mooy we want to see the accounts. And we also want to have access to the accounts. Foofu la suñ first challenge came. Because the admin there at the time didn't want us to have that one. You know, because why? Why ñun dañ war a am access to the accounts. But they keep saying that. I remember the argument they were saying, because the CEO is the accounting officer. And because the CEO is the accounting officer meant that Momo wara am total control of the account. And then no, if you go on to the other one, I am the approving officer. I approve what comes out of the account. If I don't know what is in the account, how can I be approving blindly? Do you see what I mean? So this is where we started. And then from there, we start seeing withdrawals. So then these people were doing big withdrawals. Nobody could understand. So the first decision was to introduce thresholds. To say any withdrawals for anybody which you want to do from our accounts, it has to have the approval of the chairman. We started initially, we said the CEO can have approvals up to about 100 or I think 50,000. And then from then onward, it has to be approved by the chairman before the money gets withdrawn from our accounts. You see, so then when we started that, they started reducing the amount. So they will break the vouchers down so that it can come under the 50 limits and they're still able to withdraw without a consent. We brought it down to 0. We said you can only withdraw from 0 butut to 100 butut, but not dalasi. Any dalasi, $1 all the way up, it has to be done by the chairman. And that now gave us a bit of a control over the expenditure. Because now we know the withdrawals that is happening, we have to now control that one. So you don't get, so then because time you def no, every voucher, every withdrawal now, you guys what are there from our account comes through us. So we can see what are these withdrawals about. So you see some frivolous claims, ki mune man dema buga li, dema buga halis for this and that. We don't even fall into our council legally. We stopped that. So we started throwing all these things out. And then we started saving. And then the accounts that were in minus started going up. And before, I think around December, all our accounts went into zero. So they were no longer on minus, went to zero. We told the banks no more overdrafts anymore, so no overdraft charges anymore. We canceled all the overdrafts and we now said we're going to live within our means. No more paying overdraft charges. So we got rid of the overdrafts, and then now we continue to control what comes out of our accounts. And now when we control the expenditure, we now have to go after the revenue that is coming now. Because if you're receiving it, want to control the foco de danger, halis be dafa disappear still. Want to so control it for legi sunyewe do disappear. That is what helped us. So now the money started coming in, and we started realizing revenue was there, but we started hearing a lot of information from the field. And you know, we had Bio is a policeman. So Bio started investigating and would come up with all kind of stories. So we went after a lot of the dubious people who were doing a lot of dubious things in our revenue collection. And then we started going after them. Anybody we catch, you gain a lot from that zone, you indil another person. And we then realized the other problem they were sort of collectors. So the zones guy they collect the whole of that zone. So we have to bring in more people to become collectors. But also we started assessing. We introduced assessment. Assess all our revenue base, literally get the data, because the council amuton data tame. So largely at the time, nyata bitegin let's say for example, Nema Kungo, Wellingara. They will figures like maybe 20, 30 or 40. But so say te yon be from Coastal Road to here, subsi buny am si yon be open at 30 or 40. So something is wrong somewhere. So because nyom don't depend on the collectors. Nyom know they collect, nyom know they know the wahlen the nyata subs la collect. So nyata subs la collect, and that is the amount of subs buma am zone bob. That is not what we're going to rely on. So we wanted to become a smarter council. And the only thing that can make us smart is the data. So we started going after the data. We got some people in. We said, go and collect the data. Go and tell us how many shops we have in Wellingara, how many shops we have in Nemakungo, how many compounds. All of this data, we got all of that. Before I realized, we know what we are supposed to get from every zone. So we tell you, this is how much you are supposed to get. If you don't get it, we move you to another one and we bring someone who can get it for us. The revenue started to yoke, and we started being able to do something. So that February, we started to return some money back to the people. And that was the 500,000.
Yeah, because bila ñu aga ci lool dama bëgg I want us to discuss mbiru CEO bi muy Modou Jonga because tok nañ gis na after amoon na benn diggante boo xam ne seen diggante muy yow ak moom amoon na ay yenn ñagas lan moo xewoon dem nañ ba ñu bari tamit jàpp ne xëy na Modou Jonga am na yenn yoo xam ne daf ko bëggoon a nëbbu waaye am tamit ñu doon wax ne xëy na mi bi di ñëw chairman xëy na bëgguta liggéey ak CEO bi xam ne jàpp na CEO bi daf ki mu wuutu foofu noonu muy Sirifo ñoo nekkoon ak yu CEO bi tamit is more like NPP through yu mel noonu lan nga ñu mën a tamit leeralal si lan moo indi woon issue bi.
non am nga comme li ma la wax. mooy first problem bu ñu am ak Jonga was the accounts.
Okay.
Access to the accounts. Because ñoom luñ mean mooy. He is the accounting officer. He has total control over the council. And then leena la if you are running the council and someone has total control of the accounts dafa mel ni nga nekk president of a country. And you don't know what is happening at central bank, you are blind. Anybody will cheat you. Anybody. You are their mercy. yow la nit yi fal yow la nit yi am yaakaar yow nga nekk foofu yow you are blind you are going there blind ñoom it's like all the people you voted they are all blind they don't know what is happening with their affairs yow yaa ngi rely on someone's confidence and trust so loolu moo tax ñu ne we need to know what is happening in their accounts because only then can we be able to make informed decisions to our people as to ñaata lañ dee am how we spending it because that transparency and accountability part boo xam ne nekkutoon has to come in so jinga that change now became a threat to ñoom because miinuñ loolu they were beyond reproach kenn du dee laaj leen dara they do what they want to do loolu moo tax ñu dugal seen bopp into too many problems because you have to be accountable to somebody so Jonga initially resisted he fought very hard it was a tough fight and you know Ngurge sided with Jonga against us because ñun opposition lañ they did everything to make sure ne Jonga remains and then su Jonga remain foofu mooy ne it will deny us to achieve any development or register any development in the region su loolu happen at the end of the 4 years nit yi mën nañ wax ne kii moom dafa dem foofu xeex o fight o wax foofu rek mënut a def dara dañ ñu promise ba ñun ñëpp am yaakaar si moom mu dem foofu and he failed miserably so that was the mission so but ñun dañ am ne nit yi ñoo ñu fal ñoo ñu jox position bi ñoom ñooy suñ boss yi so su ñu amee jafe-jafe si council si ñoom la ñoo dellu and then ñu explain leen problem bu ñu am so the whole that fight yi nga gis noonu we were going back to our employers to say hey you send us here this is what we need to do to change whether this is the system bu ñu fekk foofu and system boobu bëggut a change and is resisting so da nga gis ne the people also join the fight loolu moo tax ñu win at the end of the day so gis nga initially governor ak central government ñoom ñëpp ñu ngi si gannaaw Jonga and that's a powerful backing pour nga am loolu donc ñoom Jonga dañ dee dem all the way to state house ñun dañ dee déglu information dañ doon am information ne gars yi day dem state house and the state house is behind them and there is no way you're going to be able to remove him so what we did is ñun tamit ñu dellu back to the people ñu ne leen this is what is happening di pax yi yu ñu leen wax ne dañ am pax yi si council bi gars yi ñooy pax bi they are the one stealing the money they are the one doing this and then the good thing is nit yi nekkul ne ñoom tamit dañ ñu votal rek they stood with us and then naka la how did they do that naka lañ def loolu mooy ne suñ gisee Jonga even jabaram su ñëwee si marché bi jigéen yi dañ ko dee disturb moom si boppa su rëmbee rek dañ ko disturb doomam yi suñ demee school ñu disturb leen to a point ne moom si boppa he was fed up so léegi government bi mënu ko bàyyi foofu he wanted to go ji nga because the public now entered into the fight because ñoom ñoo ñu fal and then they have to support us especially suñ nekk di def liggéey bu ñu santal pour ñu def foofu if we are doing that liggéey they have to support because ñoom xam nañ ne ñoom tamit they were fed up of the failures bu ñu am foofu so il faut ñu support leen so that was the fight we had with Jonga
so balaa ma ñëw si next one dem strategy bi nga xam ne Yankuba daf ko dee play wala chairman daf ko dee play mooy like always lu xew rek dafa dem back to his people
yes
explain lan la because of Yankuba mun nañoo wax du ma wax ne comme politically nekkut ku am experience bu baax a baax comme ci politique comme like si wàllu bokkut ak xeex si struggle bi ak yooyu but dafa mel ni within a very short period da nga ci am political majority like ci naka la loolu demee like always lu xew rek da ngay dellu back to ñi nga xam ne ñoo la fal
because liñ bëgg a mooy dañ war a am transparency and accountability because loolu la nit yi ñaakoon at the time kenn du the people in government feel so big that when they dellu back to the people to explain anything lu nekk di xew si seen about their own affairs so an average Gambian man was in darkness about everything comme lu nekk in darkness about our whole government noonu la average Gambian or West Coast resident was about the area council to a point ne so laajoon anybody about the area council they have no clue what was happening there ñoom they have no clue and waruta dem noonu. The people with the position ñoo war a ñëw back to the people to explain to ñoom what is happening. Ji nga soo adopté strategy boobu. It's not only it doesn't only help you with whatever struggles you're going through. Wante danga mun a nelaw tamit because danga xam ne you are not nekkuloo di noppa dara from your people. ñoom they know what you know and they know ne nekkuloo di sàcc seen xaalis bi so jarul pour ñu ñëw si sa kër di am any issues there. So that transparency part of it gives you that peace of mind to deal with the people, to work with them, and then also to be able to loolu moo tax because nit yi dañ commencé di la gom and then di la support tamit and that helps you in the revenue maximization tamit because then you begin to have confidence in the council, in the leadership of the council, and they will support in every way that they can. So suñu wooyoon gars yi pour ñu ñëw dimbale ñu with Teshito, everybody turns up. Suñu wooyee gars yi pour ñu ñëw dimbale ñu with anything, we see people coming up because now people feel nekkul ne they know what is happening in the council, but they feel part of the administration of their council. Because lu xew mooy the people who are leading it are trying to make sure that ñoom they are on the same page with them at every step at a time. It makes my job easy. It makes ñoom their job easy as well.
Okay. Bi nga ñëwee office da nga ñu fekk a commission was already set up boo xam ne mooy local government commission of inquiry ngir mu investigate financial dealings yu jëm ci council yi starté ko 2018 jëm ci kaw. But biñ koy taxawal mu ngi tombé wala biñ government bi annoncé ne président bi na ko taxawal mu ngi tombé ñu ngi war a dem si election muy 2023 local government election si coow li bëri ñu ne political vision wax ci fii ñëw fële doo yow bi ngay ñëw bokkuloo ci because of loolu comme fa fekkoon mooy Sirifo Sonko that time yow nan nga ko gisee woon comme that commission ndax da nga jàppoon ne maybe government bi dafa am ñu mu bëggoon a xeex wala yow da nga jàpp ne lu mu def noonu lu baax la ndax after bi commission bi starté def liggéeyam ñu bëri gis am na ñu bëri ñu appreciate li nga xam ne mooy loolu yow chairman ban gis-gis yow nga ci am.
non man li ma gis si commission bi it was a very good thing. loo xam ne la lu baax la. And then it was long overdue tamit because council see there were a lot of things happening in council. You got commission time mu ñëwoon and they started ñoom Sirifo ñoom Jonga and Jeng them to the commission. Nit yu bari time boobu la ñun we were vindicated because time boobu la nit yu bari xam ne dëgga nekkate chairman was not fighting these people for the sake of fighting them. am na nit yoo xam ne dañ fokkoon ne ñu ngi doon xeexoon ñoom because of ay different hate lañ ji nga loolu yëpp nit yi amoon nañ that belief but time commission ñëw ñu gis ñaata xaalis la gars yi mismanage foofu that helped a lot and then it is very very good because lu xew mooy council staff si comme li ma la explain collectors si and then many other staffs dañ foog ne time boobu they were beyond reproach because lu xew mooy council si amutoon doole benn tey amuñ doole pour sack or daaxa anybody even soo ku téyee mu ngi saaca xaalis mënuloo koo daaxa da nga war a report it to the local government service commission ñoom they have a five men volunteers 5 people yoo xam ne they are even doing different works they only meet when it is convenient naka la those 5 people run a whole council and not just benn council but 8 council yenn council yi they have more than 1,000 people yenn ñu ngi am time ñun ñëwoon BAC they were having over 400 yenn council 300 so the amount of people is over 2,000 people only 5 nit yoo xam ne they are not there every day amul seen own permanent officer and then ñoom ñoo war a deal with all the disciplinary issues boo xam ne is happening at different council it's a problem so loolu it brought in an attitude or a culture in the councils boo xam ne more encourage this corruption so yow soo ñëwee bugg a xeex that kind of corruption or system you lack all the powers amuloo power pour daaxa kenn amuloo power pour suspend kenn amuloo power pour so how are you going to be able to straighten everybody right? It's a tough one. And then that's the problem. So the local government commission is a very good thing. Man lima buga moy every council you have to go through a commission. Let the commission audit everybody.
Okay.
And then at least after that, mun nañu dem to the next world with that peace of mind. We were not like other councillors or leaders. Yoo xam ne
so kon yow bëgg nga the same commission like
mu ñëwaat every year. Man dama bëgg mu nekk permanent sax. Dafa war a nekk comme anti-corruption commission. Mu nekk for the local governments. So that when there are issues, you report them and then they investigate the people. And let it be public because that also deters people from stealing.
So you are in office for about 2 years and 6 months.
Yes.
Tell us, are you satisfied so far?
Yes, a bit. But I'm satisfied a bit because Fuma fake on council and Fun told legi is something a bit. I can take a bit of a satisfaction out of that because now we have vehicles. They are going around collecting waste from households. We have our own shovel. We are providing scholarships to students. We are returning some money back to the people. So Loliep was not happening before. And we are doing little development here and there. What we are, to an extent we are satisfied, to an extent we are not very much satisfied. The reason being is, the amount of liggéey buñ wara def ak xaalis buñ dee ama dañ over, there's a miles apart. Central government moo ñu wara subvent, ñoom nekkuñ di def lool. So that is still a big unsatisfaction on that front. But apart from that, we are a lot better now because at the moment, mun nga wax ne it will take us time to achieve the development goals that we have. But every year, mun nañoo def something because the money is coming. You know, we started from let's say they will tell you we get 60 million, we get 70 million, we don't even know how much we get, to now where we can say clearly and categorically and provide evidence to say we receive over 200 million dollars annually from our revenue alone. So that's a big mile.
So your land government,
I found them, they were saying 63 million, 73 million, 80 million, 90 million. You cannot even get a clear picture of Nyata Lagade. Okay. You see what I mean?
Nga ñëw office nga inherit problème bu yàgg West Coast mooy lu ñuy wax drainage, poor drainage system ci rawatina sax ci market bi ñu bari di ko kaas ak tamit waste management loolu noo ci liggéey because of jamono ji pour wax dëgg ñun defoon nañ ci story boo xam ne ñenn ñi nga xam ne dañu la doon support bégguñu woon ci story bi because ñu bari ñu ngi doon complain but after gis nañ tamit right now yenn réaction yi nga xam ne ñooñu ñu ngi wax different story but tey lan nga ñu mën a wax ci liggéey bi nga xam ne def ngeen ko ci wàllu drainage and also ci wàllu waste management
yes. So waste management comme li ma doon explain dañ am ay vehicles yi right vehicles yi so bulldozer da nga gis ne bulldozer def ñu dee dimbale at the Tambana with the dumping site dressing bi so that takes care of foofu problème buñ doon am foofu di challenge buñ doon am foofu challenge boobu mooy ne you would go there nga fekk gars yi dañ dee sànni mbalit every year fu nekk lañ dee sànni even yoon bi pour nga am yoon is a problem so léegi bulldozer made that very easy for us and then the shovel with the big dumper truck means ne any dustbin or illegal dumping site bu ñu am si region bi mun nañ koo clear at a very short period so that takes care of challenge boobu bu ñu dee am and then now we also have compactor trucks these garbage trucks yoo xam ne they are also going around at least every 2 weeks mun naa wax ne we are providing 1 day service to people loolu in the future mun naa yokka because this year tamit dañ bugga jënd few more suñu amee boobu will be able to provide a lot more coverage so si waste management side bi we are better at ease léegi fu ñu nekk ni far better than fu ñu nekkoon time ñu ñëwoon into administration. The other one mooy drainage bi. Drainage, everybody knows problem bu ñu dee am at Brikama, especially during nawet bi. It used to be a very big problem. They flowed every time. And then to make matters worse, because Brikama, lu gaa yi defoon mooy dañ sampa fish market in the middle of the market. So fish market boobu, they have about 40,000 cubic liters storage space lañ am. Wante the amount of water buñ they produce, that place every 2-3 days they face. So su taw ñëwee mu fekk that place is already flooded, and that is the sewage water. Ndox boobu ndox tilim boobu moo dee dugga si marché bi, and it creates time boobu la nit yi day wax ne soo duggee si marché bi you have insects crawling on your legs in Brikama market. So we knew we had to do something about that. First thing we did was for the fish market, then luwason septic tanks. Ñaari tanks lañ luwason for about almost 1 year or 6 months. And then from there ñu ne pour nga luwas boobu dafa seer. It was costing us a lot of money. So lu ñu war a def mooy dañu war a try ñu jënd suñu own septic tank. So the second rainy season ñu jëndoon suñu own septic tank bi. But that one alone was not enough because of the amount of water that facility is producing. So ñu yokkal ko with another septic tank, and now that helps us. But even rainy season then they struggle. Su taw bi bare rek ndox bi def overflow. But we are managing it that way because that is the sewage water. So time guide on Sampon, because that was that project was donated by Japan. And the Japanese bala ñu sampa drainage boobu fofu, that fish market fofu, dañ laajoon nguur gi ndax dinañ am a sewage system, because dañ xamoon ne that water is not fit for drainage system. Il faut mu run through a sewage system. Guy, they promised them ne dinañ am sewage system for Brikama. It never happened. So I'm in sewage system, and now we have a sewage manufacturing site in the market. It is not connected to any sewage. So now we have to depend on these septic tanks to drain it every 2 days. So that is a big challenge for us, but we are managing it. But the drainage, we had to do it because the first rainy season we studied. We studied Nakalan Dohbidedem from Brikama, because Brikama is slopey. So they knew from this end and from that end, Jambar Sanela Dohbide Daji. And that place, there was no outlet. So it gets stuck there. And that's why you tend to have flooding at Jambar San. Bay UN Habitat even donated about, I think it was about $6,000 or $8,000 for flood in there. But that money needed counterpart contribution from central government, I think BCC, KMC, and then BAC. None of that came. The money got stuck with UNDP fee. So we had to figure out our own problem. We have to figure out a solution. Lolmota, last year, after 2 consecutive rainy seasons we were studying, last year, Manilin, this is what we're going to do. And then we started with, first we cut the road, the Dambarsane concrete road, Boblan cut first. And then we started doing our own drainage of almost about 200 meters. We built that up, and then we constructed it and connected it to the main one. And then now we use an excavator to excavate the main one all the way out of Brikama. This is how we've done it. So when we finished that, then we connected it to the market now. So we then unblock all the drainage, the pre-existing drainage system around the market, because market never amon drainage system for. Guy, when they were constructing the road, they blocked the culverts. So then you don't block most of the culverts. Yomne, Fofula, market they connect water market before they gain it to connect out of to the Jambarsane end. But that really helped. And now this year, no matter lum baretaw, just give it 30-20 minutes. No be again. Yes.
Okay. ñu bari ñu doon coow ci mbiru ne chairman dafa ñëw yokku taxe dafa def ni nangam du sa gars yi defend nañ ko wane nañ ay kii but mbiru taxe boobu justification bi ngeen joxe woon mooy lu ngeen fa fekk la xëy na maybe gars yi dañ jàpp ne dafa am ñu nekkoon ci ginnaaw pour jéem koo politicize but loo leen fa fekk nan nga ñu mën a dikkalaat ci mbir moom mbiru taxe bi ñu bëri waaw ya
non am nga du lifin bi la is rates value property bi because lu waa buñ fekk foofu mu ne su sa kër bi if the value of sa kër bi is more than 500,000 da ngaa war a fay 2,000 a year ñun loolu lañ fekk foofu Moussa Dramé moo endorse boobu moo ko brought it into law so the old council bi ñoom ñoo def loolu but what happened is gars yi nekkutoon di implement so nga am loi yoo xam ne boobu moo laa jox koom-koom pour nga def development bi you just decided to abandon it but lu yow mooy ñoom de collectors yi mun nañ ñëw say for example Eyeafrica ñu seet seen building bi ñu ne yow da ngaa war a fay 2,000 and then they can show it on the tariff ne yow 2,000 ngaa war a fay yow soo fayee 2,000 ñoom ñu ñëw si council ñu ne it's not a valid property it's a normal rate tax so ñu ñëw o ñu def only 150 on the receipt ñoom ñu dem with the 1,850 bi lii moo doon xewoon lii moo tax the council was really struggling comme li ma la wax when we send the assessors to Kerry ñoom they started assessing Kerry ñoom they will say Kerry is definitely more than 500,000 because there's a self-contained or story building or some sort of building boo xam ne soo ko gisee da nga xam ne that one they definitely spend more than 250,000 500,000 so ñoom dañ bind data boobu so now we have to tell the collectors this is the data that's what you should collect so jinga now that's when everybody started feeling it ne waaw ñoom time because now collectors have no choice they have to collect what is in the tariff so time ñu ñëw to everywhere so now people started saying waaw gars yi dañ ñëw rek ñu yokkal tax bi but it is not dañ fekk that was the law ñun the problème buñ doon am ak nguur gi even suñ yokkal tax bi duñ ko nangu they will not do it because ñoom dañ war a value suñ properties in West Coast defuñ valuation
so yéen da ngeen implement li ngeen fa fekk
dañu implement luñ fekk foofu so and that was the 2004 value properties above 500,000 and then 150 160 for properties yoo xam ne they are below 100,000
in 2024 you disbursed 14 million to 28 wards ci biir West Coast region each 500,000
yes
in 2025 nga yokk ko def ko each 1 million yeah ci mbir moom nag ñu bari wax nañ ci am na ñu bari ñoo xam ne comment nañ la ci that initiative yaa ko initiate wala da nga fekkoon foofu sa ki nga wutu mu ko doon def maybe yow nga defee ko lu wutee nu mu ko doon def wala yow da nga ñëw indi yow initiative boo xam ne mooy the money should go back to the people
yeah
comme ni ko waxee because ñu bari ñoo jàpp ne the 60% should go back to the people
no gis nga ñoom that was our initiative
okay
dañ fekkoon they had a similar thing they had what they call ward development wante ñoom lu ñu doon def mooy they were given it to they would select 5 or 10 wards yi ñu jox leen 1 million no they were not even doing 1 million they were doing I don't know 500,000 or but the money was not much and then beneen problème bi bu ñu amoon was that ñoom they would give you xaalis bi but they will control the xaalis bi and then wards yi were having too many problems getting access to the money and all other things ñun dañ ñëw we change all of that you see so wante balaa ñun ñu ñëw they almost stopped it because within 5 years, they only done it for only 10 within 5 years. So the idea ne, every year, they want to deal back to our people. That came from us. Because lolu moy election promise buñ jëlon ñu ne suñu close pay yuñ fekk in the council, we will then delu back the halis be back to the communities. And then we also, the other idea buñ am moy is this idea of decentralization. Because ñinga, like for example, demon na Cartoon World, ñom they decided ne they wanted to fence the football field of Medina Salam. Definitely some part of their money into that. Some part was given for boreholes. Before the previous years, then they found borehole. The second year, you fence guys and field be. Nga feka Kembuje definitely nolu. Nema kungu. Nyom defon nañ toilet si football field and other development needs. Jinga, if we have to sit at the central level in Brikama, Buga decide what we're going to do, let's say in Fonyi Sintate, what we're going to do in Buyam and other places, the demands and the needs, they no compete. Because anyway, for Fonyis, water is an issue. They don't have access to clean drinkable water. So ñom dañ soxla bohol. Women si dañ soxla garden si. So holali suñu amé women are talking about garden pour ñu have empowerment, ñu am xaalis, ñu mëna topato sen jaboti. And then you're talking about some other people ñu né ñom dañ bëgg fence football field. Jinga priority halis bobu yeb dafa dem to women garden ak boreholes because ñom those are basic needs. Wante yena tunday wards ñom they don't need water and say gardening, but dañ soxla toilet at their football field. Dañ soxla yena other stuff fencing of their football field. Dañ soxla electricity expansion. So how do you prioritize each of these? It will be difficult so if you want to do it at the council. Then in the end, most of your revenue defer them to one place. Come don't complain, everything is Brikama. The Brikama reklan am in this BAC. Then you have other regions. So but this way, development gets to everybody. Because everybody gets something, they can be able to take care of their own priority needs. Once we get over the priority needs, they can then decide what else they want to do with it. So that decentralization concept helped us a lot. Lolmota we came up with the World Development Fund. It really helped in ensuring that everywhere ñu ngay am something yoo xam ne they are at least progressing a bit.
noo ko gisee tamit ndax like feedback bi comme yaa ngi koy joxe si ward si ndax soo demee wër monitor gis ndax yaa ngi gis development ci ward yooyu noonu nga xam ne joxe nga fa.
Yes. The feedback is overwhelmingly appreciative. Because nit yi loolu moo mean ne the money is being put in the good use.
So da nga ko bëgg di def every year.
Every year boobu kay nekkul ne ñun loolu dafa war a nekk an obligation of the council léegi from henceforth because ñun luñ bëgg mooy ñu set precedent. Suñ nekk foofu is fine. Suñ nekkul foofu, let it continue. Because suñ defee loolu, the village in Combo East will be able to also have something every year pour ñu mun a register some development in that village. Otherwise, all the xaalis bi dafa ñëw in the most urban areas or mu des in Brikama. So all the koom-koom bu ñoo am, it will all end in Brikama. The other ones will never see any development or progress, and that will be very sad.
Yéen da ngeen ko bëgg a decentralize.
Decentralize.
Good. What is your relationship with the government as a chairman? Well, so let me put it this way: what is the relationship between the central government and Brikama Area Council?
Brikama Area Council and the government is not very, very good, but it is better than before. But it is not very, very good. Comme Limla explained, we still have a market complex. Bohamne. ñoom ñoo sampoon market boobu and they decided not to give it to us ñun nekkuñ di am koom-koom from foofu they cannot collect it because ñoom they are not mandated legally pour ñu collect loolu but it is there they pack it there bugg ñoo jox council bi so ñu ngee xaar ba ñoom suñu amee their own MPP chairman ñu jox ko boobu but they don't want to give it to us you know what I mean but that is the reality so that is still a problem between us and then central government but ñun we have been given a mandate ñoom they have been given a mandate seen mandate mooy to do what central government functions are supposed to be ñun we are given a mandate to do what local government functions are supposed to be ñoom ñoo ñu war a jàpp but they politicize everything and that did not help so that is where we are it's not as perfect as it's supposed to be and we can't do much about that one.
Okay, ñu ñëwaat ci opération clear the road because boobu gisoon nañ fi yu kii yu bari like bu ñu gisee opération bi anytime mu war a dem Brikama ci market bi dañuy gis chairman ak team bi pare sometimes di ngeen def Facebook binda wax ne pare ngeen pour you but am ñu jàppoon ne opération bi lu baax la gis comme like ñenn ñuy taxaw ci kaw yoon bi ak yeneen kii waruñ du war but anytime ñu ne bu ñëwee Brikama dang dee bañ ndax da nga bañoon wala dafa am lu taxoon nga doon fay
non am nga lu ñu wax ñu ne opération clear the road
yes
Brikama moom lu ñu amoon mooy opération clear the market loolu dañu ute you know because ñu ngi am road si in Brikama duñ dee dem si road si noonu de ñoom their concentration is in the market marché ba gars yi dee dugg inside the market and then start demolishing stalls yi yoo xam ne those people ñu ngi foofu for so long you know man I think the first day because am nga gars yi ma wala benn they started that whole operation because of us ji nga time ñu ngi commencé woon naa Jimpex ñu ngi doon yàkkamte pour egga Brikama because ñun ñooy their main target bi the target was Brikama ñu ngi am koom-koom and then bay waaji di start di disburse xaalis bi this one we need to make sure we control him so that he doesn't have the money to spend because
nga baal ma ñoom lu ñu doon wax mooy am na benn yoon boo xam ne si marché bi la bokk loolu yoon la woon ambulance dafay jaar dafa war a dem si hospital ñoom justification boobu lañu nekkoon di jox
no boobu du justification boobu they were just trying to because yoon boobu first time lu ñu wax mooy ne opération bi foofu la moo am yoon boobu to the hospital loolu la ñu wax ba ñun ñëpp ñu d'accord si loolu ñu gars yi dem demolish that place King Koli moo lead on that one King Koli mu ñëw mu explain ñu that road yoon boobu boobu mooy from church to the hospital mu ne that one ambulance yi foofu la they apply so they will try and clear that one ñu ne leen no problem and then we even send our guys pour ñu dem to take details of borom bitiki yoo xam ne they were going to be affected so that we can try and find somewhere fu ñoo yóbbu leen you know what I mean because we told them time boobu ñu ngi amoon space at GRA time boobu demolition GRA bi ñu ngi amoon space on the other side ñu ne when they clear those ones we will go and clear the GRA ñu move those people to that place because ñun xam nañ ne this market bi gars yi amuñ liggéey foofu mooy seen liggéey bi foofu lañ dee am seen lu ñëw seen dépense bi on a daily basis so disrupté loolu il faut nga util leen an alternative solution so ñoom dañ ñëw first day they cleared from that yoon bi lañ clear balaa ñun ñu yegg de clearing everywhere emuñ bunti l'hôpital bi de they came all the way to Council End they went on the other side then ñu ne there used to be a road from Nana Junction to GPTC yoon boo xam ne used to be taking you to a garage ku am Brikama da nga xam ne Brikama dafa amoon garage inside that market bi wante because market space bi moo tuuti woon Yahya Jammeh created another car park and then the old car park ñu yokkal ko to the market loolu moo tax yoon boobu mu yokkal into the market too because there is no garage so moto yi waru ñoo dugga foofu garage bi mu ngi si other side bi ñoom ñu ne they now going to clear yoon boobu am nga ñoom ñoo ñu doon tooñ So then this is not Operation Clear the Road. This is Operation Clear Brikama Market. And then we know, because from the beginning, they have information that these people, they have meeting.
These people, which people?
Government. Then they have security council meeting and they talk about Brikama area council. We know they have to Yankuba and then the council because we get development and we need to clear all of that. So we get that information. So when they started Joshua, and then we saw people, everybody celebrating, and we said, okay, didn't know Brikama, didn't figure fee. You know, but when they came, they said, King Coligno, you know, only from the church to 2 roads that was at church to Brikama Luptan, and then the other one more from police station to Brikama Garage.
And you accept?
We said no problem. Munga clear those ones. We will provide alternative space for them. On the next minute, over 1,000 people guide them basic garage. We even see surrounding of the garage. So many people's lives were turned upside down overnight. So many people. I cannot tell you how many people came to us crying. You know? And then that's when we said, you know what? This is a fight against us. And then Warunyo Nangu, poor people become victims to it. We have to go out, let them kill us, and then these people survive. The whole misery, their misery will end if we do that. And then that's when we confronted them. And that day we said, you will kill us, but this place, no more operation again. And from that day, no operation in our market again. And then it never happened again. Suma guy amnen jama leg.
Okay, but ci lolu tamit amna ñu doon criticize comme like ci ne okay Yankuba he's not diplomatic, like do def diplomacy jital fi wala waxtaan fi always mom lu mu xam rek moy génn ci biti mom buñ ko ké mu gëna fight sometimes ñu bari dañ leen
no one da nga am diplomacy with someone who wants a diplomacy. Suñ bëggoon diplomacy dañoo ñëw am waxtaan ak ñun wante nga ñëw nga am waxtaan ak ñun nga jox ñu space ñu ne la no problem, we support it. Nga dem, you are now going after poor people. Lulu is not diplomacy, that is wickedness. You don't it's Lu Mandela, neutrality between the oppressed and oppressor. You are supporting the oppressor. We have to support the oppressed people. And then the stand bunyu jelon, moy the right stand, because mo ñu jox suñ gaay jama fofu. You know what I mean? Suñ togon ci suñ office bi o ñu ngi call len diplomacy. I'm a bully, you don't do diplomacy with a bully, because they see it as a comment to their tactics, and they only double it. Suñ don't def that diplomacy with them, they would double it. We don't diplomacy with these people. It doesn't work. It never favors us. I was the only way. It is what led us to our survival. We survived because of that. Soon they can tap it, and then we just kept quiet. Or we just say we don't want trouble. Our people will continue to suffer. Operation be defined on Bentay. Because Lunda def moy am nga operation bobu became even terrible, because do moy so joxe mané xaliss mu ñew mun nga jox mané xaliss man mun na ko jox xaliss mané ko demal nga génal garmi, because garmi mu ngi compete ak man wante mu ngi génal bagage yi ci biti mané ñew destroy sa bagage yi, because yow nga jonga ko deng ko jox xaliss. They were doing all kind of dubious things. We were getting all those information. We have no evidence, but we were getting information there. Those were happening. So all of that made the situation to a point there we had to stand up. We cannot just sit down and watch poor people. And then, you know, the last part, mine, you know, they all witnessed to it. I couldn't hold my own tears, because I've seen women crying. I've seen old people crying. You know, my chairman, feel they face much children, their school fee, feel amuna topato suman jaboti and all other things. So, where they are elected officials, we are sitting down and going home and saying to ourselves, because can lalud man, I am okay. No, as a leader, you have to take the first bullet has to be yours. You know fetal, because you to the Marseille with fetal. Can you imagine fetal? It's as if they're going to a war zone. luñ bëgg ñun ñu def we fold our hands we just do diplomacy with who guy yu ñëw with fetal no we were not going to do fetal with diplomacy and then fuñ taxawee foofu lañ taxaw benn tey we would rather die than to see that happen to our people. It's very wrong.
Affaire bi dafa mel escalator na ba amoon fa na amoon na arrest fan na mujj waaye waxtaan amoon na gis nañ fan na assistant
no because IGP ñëwoon na waaw IGP ñëwoon na moom si boppa he seen it and he said it is wrong Paate ñëw mu ne no they went into the market du loolu lañ d'accord King Koli complain na mu ne is wrong they went beyond their bounds ñu ne yoon yi not marché so ñun dañ xam ne they were trying to do a lot of things it was just provocation beyond anything ñun suñ boppa dañ sampoon benn yoon you know dañ defoon concrete road foofu and that concrete road needed 20 something days pour mu wow so we asked women yi ñu ngi wuti fu ñoo toog pour jaay ñu ne leen toog leen si yoon boobu ngeen jaay because fii moto mënut a jaar fii because su pass through it will damage the concrete so ñu teg jigéen yi foofu the next minute ñoom ñu ñëw I don't know who called them because am nga there were a lot of comme li ma la explain there was a lot of politics going on we got information ne guy ku call guy ne that evening was this guy called Bolonjabang MPP guy in the market mu call leen then the next day you see they brought a lot of paramilitary officers because they came purposefully to come after us so dañ ñëw so this guy Jaaw Jallow ku nekk councilor for Ñambaay moom jigéen ñi dañ ko call ñu ne ko Jaaw yéen ñoo wax ne pour ñu ñëw fii léegi para yi ñëw ñu ngi tasaare suñ bagage yi and not only that they were just stamping on people's goods kan moo def loolu these women would come early morning they will buy tomatoes and other things from these gardeners who will bring the goods from outside ñoom dañ day jënd from those people ñu jaay get their little profit and then go and help their family and that time Tobaski was coming everyone was desperate pour ñu am something ñu mun a buy something for their children ñoom they came it's not even tell women pack seen bagage yi ngeen dem they just started smashing them kan moo def loolu and you are a human being yow nga ne you are a human being you are serving those people loolu moo boils my heart with that day and that's why I said no this one is enough tey and that's why ma bindaleen on Facebook ma ne leen tey dinaa dee wante bii dina stop and that's what I did because my heart really goes out for those people they don't have anything foofu lañ dee ñëw to have something you want to destroy them that is wrong I cannot cope with that so loolu moo happen and then depuis that time ñun dañu am jaama si suñ marché bi suñ jigéen ñi am jaama because lu tax ma wax ne these people they intended to deliberately def loolu because lu xew mooy after loolu ñun dañu amoon 6 zones in Brikama fu ñu dee jël tax the first time ñu gars yi def loolu 3 zones yi they wipe them out overnight ñu ngi desoon only 3 zones fu ñu doon am fu ñu doon collect revenue
9 May 2021 am na benn court case boo xam ne dox ci sa diggante ñu bëri wax am kàddu yoo xam da nga ko yëkkati woon jëmee ko ci président bi ñu bëri jàpp ne kàddu yi du teggine wut ba mbir mi dem ci yoon lu mu bëgg xam mooy what is the state of the case now?
The case is at the appeals court of appeal.
Okay.
Because we went to the magistrate court and then we said we have no case to answer. The magistrate refused that. We appealed against that. It went to the High Court. The High Court then because so appealed to the High Court, you have to wait for the High Court itself to produce the documents of the transcripts of the magistrate court. We were waiting on that transcript and they said you were getting all kind of interference from top. Because they wanted to lock Yankuba up long time ago. Then Mabugona Tej. So they did all kind of deals and then the next minute George B then turned up one day, he threw the case. He said, you are too late, you cannot provide all these things. Then he choked the case out. And we had to appeal to the Court of Appeal. Still, we don't have the transcript. So we're waiting on the transcript. Judge dafa wara wait transcript because that is not our fault. It is the fault of the court itself. Ñun dañu wax ne ñu fay xaalis bi pour ñoom ñu produce the transcript. Ñu fay xaalis boobu, and then the next minute they turn around, they said, oh, it was delaying unnecessarily. And they wanted to throw the case so that we can go back to the magistrate. Magistrate finds us guilty and lock us up. That's the whole process going on.
Tactic.
That's the whole tactic. Because the case has no merit. There's no merit in the case. It's just all political. Just because lu xew moy dañ bëgg a tëj Yankuba. That's the whole witch hunt about it. Because ñu ne dama saaga judge si. When dem musuma tuddewuma benn judge. They said not the judges, judiciary be yëpp la saga. But I did not mention Gambian judiciary. I did not mention Gambian. I said anybody ku buga nga yóbbu ma si kangaroo court judge. So ñoom ñu ne I said kangaroo court judges, Gambian judges. So they were inferring things from other places. But we know it's all political.
Okay.
It's all a witch hunt.
So ndax si loolu tamit yow lawyer nga am nga experience ci wàllu yoon ak yooyu tamit ndax loolu tamit du tax balaa mooy ñëw foofu sax ndax regret nga ko maanaam bu doon démb doon tey comme comments yu mel noonu soo koy def doo xam noo koy defee pour jéem a ñu bañ am fenn fu ñu lay pin bi ko bu fekkee da nga jàpp ne government bi wala nguur gi ñu ngi lay teg bët pour maybe bu ñu amee any slight chance pour jéem la mën a jàpp ndax yow tamit fooguloo si sa bind ci sa wax nga.
non am nga boobu. I already done an apology.
Okay.
You see what I mean? I apologize. Because jinga lool, we went through legal service disciplinary. Bala ñoom ñu yóbbu ko to court. Lawyer si seen boppa ñoo ma yóbbu di Gambia Bar Association ñoo ma yóbbu to legal service commission. Because ñoom tamit luñ amoon mooy ne dama saagoon judiciary, dama saagoon judges yi ma ne leen no, I did not. And then we presented the transcript. ñu seet transcript boobu ñu ne have to okay. Because lima wax la moo tax other people write and they insulted the judge ñu ne and they related to me. So ñu ne I have to do an apology. I did. I apologized to the bench, the judges, and I apologized to the fellow members of the bar. I apologized to the whole Gambian nation. But that is not even enough to the government. They still said, then go take. You see what I mean? Policy, and ñoom ñoo nekk behind it. ñoom Ablay Sanyang, ñoom Ablay Sane, and all these police people. And then obviously from Barrow at top down, all of them were all interested in silencing Yankuba. But it's not easy to silence me like that. It's not that easy. So they're trying every day to lock me up. But I'm still out. Yàlla rek mooy buur. Yàlla rek moo mën a def loolu. Wante su fekkee ñoom luñ wish loolu la things go about. Then I would have been locked up by now. Even though that is not supposed to even be a locked up, it's supposed to be a fine. But they were trying to see how best they can get me to prison for it. That's all they're seeking.
Okay. What is your take on the Meet the People tour?
Bubaro def this last one.
Yep, just Meet the People tour rek mooy bu Barrow bu beneen bu keneen yow.
My take on it mooy ne yes leen loo xam ne lay dafa am solo pour président am country am. You know what I mean? What I don't agree is the politicization of it. You know what I mean? ñoom dañ ko turn into MPP campaign. Foofu la problème bi nekk. Lii waruñoo am ay big meetings sax. Dañ waroon a dem meet with the farmers in their because you meet the farmers too. Meet the farmers in their farm, yeah, or meet them. But you because you want to know about the problem of your people. Pour nga ñëw soo ñëwee back, you then have to put that in the budget. Ci nga first time. Foog na Yahya Jammeh def ko doon def before the rainy season, and I think Jawara tamit loolu la day def. Def day dem before the rainy season. Pour nga am all the problems of the farmers. So da nga gis ne soo ñëwee, and then even not that rainy season, but the following rainy season, mun ngeen consider the plight in your budget. It's very important. But then they them after the budget. Then they them I buried November, December when they are already tabling the budget in the session. So how are you going to say this year's problem is going to feature in next year's budget? It's not possible. Hananga feature could the following year budget. So that means you are 1 year behind. So the politicization of everything, my problem. You see what I mean?
Okay.
When they go there, they don't talk about farm business. They talk about the president and how he's supposed to be here forever. That is not what he made the people to he's supposed to be. We're supposed to be talking about Nakalanyo produce food so that Dekabi, we don't need to import food. That is the conversation the president.
So nan ngay reacté si ñeneen ñi nga xam ne wala ñeneen ñu bokk ànd ak nguur gi wala ñeneen ñu toog ne ok tey maybe some of the opposition wala UDP ñu ngi ko criticiser waaye boo xoolee 2017 2018 mid the people to nuñ ko doon doxalee mos ñoo gis kenn ku bokk UDP wala ku bokk maybe dan ci nguur gi ku mën a criticiser loolu maybe affaire yi mu ngi baaxoon ak ñoom.
No, am nga time boobu things were not that polarized. And then I believe let's say 2017, when they went around the country, they were talking about how you're going to support the farmers. They couldn't 2026 election, 2021 election, then buga purungen vote Barrow and Barrow bunge in the 100 million to women, a whole lot of things. Come lima explain more. At those times, the main message had been about how do we attain food self-sufficiency. But even if it was happening at that time, whether we supported it or we don't support it, it is wrong. What is wrong is never good because we supported it or we didn't support it.
So did you see the 2026 estimated budget? What are your observations if you see it?
I have heard it, but I have not gone through it properly. But my impression is that you know, they could be. You know, we understand budgets because councils we deal with budgets. Like for example, last year we budgeted for 350 million. We ended up getting about 200 and something million, 230 million. So you have a shortfall in your budget of about 100 million plus. They're talking about the GRA. I don't know what will be the budget, the target for next year. Because this year they said, I think it's 23 billion or 24 billion. Yeah, this year, next year, they might do 26 or 30 billion, but they're bringing a budget of over 50 billion. Where is the other 20 going to come from? So the problem is that they are seeking donors to help them, and then the other one, if the donors don't turn up, the rest of the money comes from loans. Limota Gambia has been piling loans and loans and loans and loans. See, when we came in BAC, similar problem. You don't have the money, you're still partying. You're just eating. No, we have to live within our means. Every government needs to be very physically disciplined about that. You cannot overspend what you cannot get, what you don't have. If we do that, and even with a budget of 30 billion, yeah, this country munna register a lot of development. But it's how you expend that money. It's not all to go to the government, the same government people or the technocrats who are doing the work. Most of the time, that's what happens. Not much is coming back. They cannot give anything to the councils. We in turn are not able to give anything from that. The hospitals, they say they're allocating billions and billions. We go to the hospital, there is no medicine, there is no doctor. We are having, even ambulances are struggling to have fuel. So where is all the money going to? But we still see the president's belly is getting bigger. The cabinet members are all bellying up. Everybody is getting bigger belly, but the rest of society and the rest of everything is not working. So that's a problem.
Okay. No, they feel sometimes ñene comme dañ lay jema VR comme di génné yena sa Facebook comment 2017 how you defended Barrow comme di wax ci Barrow ci, and now maybe li nga doon wax in 2017 2018 is different. No, you gis sometimes ñene suñu génn those old posts wala publication.
The thing is, they just wanted to make capital out of loo xam ne doesn't exist. You see what I mean? So you have to look at the topic. You know what I mean? So, for example, they said when Barrow and you people were in government, you said, let the police have done their decision. If you're not happy with it, go to court. Don't go to don't go to Facebook. But I do that still, even if they deny us of the permit. We try to go to court to challenge it. Although the 3 years time we said, no, we are fighting because we wanted to force them to give us the permit. And it worked, that also worked. You see what I mean? But it's not on the same topic. Consistency is about the same topic. You know what I mean? If you're talking about, let's say, I said that they should not give them permit. This is what I mean. If I said they should not give them permit, but I'm applying for permit and I said I should be given a permit, that is not fair. That is not consistency. But even then, I wrote a piece to say, the Faraba incident changed everything, and that the government needs to give people permit, including Occupy Westfield. Understand? I said that, but they never want to VAR, but they want to VAR other one. Yeah. But you know, it's interesting because the VARs, you know, politicians will always have VARs on this and that. But you have to understand, I have always been consistent in holding government to account. And even when we were in government, I see some people said, I even said teachers should be fired because they were, I never said that, but they try to twist those ones and then bring them up as is one of the things that I supported. I was not even aware of the teachers' protest at the time. I don't remember writing or sharing much opinion on it. But we were in government with Barrow. You understand? We were, as he would say, we were in the bus. And then when he took us out of the bus, what do they expect us? We are now opposition. Should we be supporting government? Would that even make sense? It wouldn't. But when they do something good, we support them. But when they don't, we oppose. Because opposition, our job is to oppose the government, oppose.
Now, let's talk about politics.
Yes.
How do you see the political atmosphere now, and how would you analyze it?
The political atmosphere at the moment is very, very interesting. So 2026 will be a big surprise for a lot of people, because a lot of people are miscalculating and misreading things. So I think 2026 will be very interesting. It will be a surprise. But I don't think Barrow will win 2026 election. That one I can bet on that. He's not going to win. There will be a change. And for us, we want that change to be in favor of the United Democratic Party. That's what we want. We want Gambians to give us an opportunity and then give us a chance, test us as well. You know, we have a party leader in contest who is the only person currently in contest apart from President Barrow who had once served as a president of this country. You know, he was a vice president. So Barrow Tuki, he is the president. He served in that position even for an hour or a day or a few hours. He knows what it involves, what it entails. Most of the other ones don't. Is what I mean. But I think the experience we have will help United Democratic Party to run, to help, because Gambia, the farm challenges you, but you know, we are facing an economic crisis. The dollar is plummeting over every day, and then food prices are going up. The economy is literally tanked at the moment. A cement bag is just costing God knows how much. Everything is on the higher side at the moment. So the country is really, really suffering. So the challenge of overturning that, you need to have a party with the capacity to deal with it. And UDP, no party has the capacity that we have.
UDP
and the experience we have as well.
UDP mungi face difficult situation bo xamne face on noko in 2019 japp 2020 but 2021 like a sitting president ko xamne dafa nekkon member of UDP mu gene mu form a movement from a movement to a political party. In 2025, sorry, lu mel noonu happenaat doo ki génn du nekkut a sitting president but a sitting mayor génnaat from UDP. And then in 2019, 2020 but 2020 loolu bi mu happen affect na UDP because bi ngeen demee election winu leen. But 2025 lu mel noonu happenaat Talib génn as a mayor from movement boo xam ne ñoom ñu ne that movement will be turned to a political party yi ñu war a demaat 2026 UDP war a taxawaat ndax the same scenario du repeatat like UDP ñàkkaat election yi because of am na ko génn si ñoom wala this time loolu du happen.
non loolu du happen am nga 2020 so ñun 2021 gomuñ ne dañ lose election boobu.
IC loolu la wax
waaw IC loolu lañ wax loolu moo tax ñu yóbbu leen court and then judges yi through our case on technicalities ñun luñ gom mooy ne ñun ñoo gagné waa MPP dañ sàcc suñ vote si.
nan lañ ko sàccee Mr Chairman.
ñoom they would be the best people to explain that how they did it loolu lañ bëgg they don't want to disclose it but we had evidence. Da nga am a village boo xam ne soo defee Google map of the village da nga am maybe about 10-15 compounds and then they bring on the IEC data there is about 2,000 people registered as voters in that village. Loolu moo mean ne it's about each compound is having 100 and something people which 100 and something people not only xale yi bokk nañ si loolu it's like 100 and something people over the age of 18 loolu mënut a nekk xel mënut a jàpp loolu but that's what those are some of the evidence we presented in our court case and we even shared it. We had registration of people yoo xam ne it happened after the official closing times. Loolu yëpp happened na in 2021 balaa ñu egg to 2021 election. So we had all of that evidence because the machines that were recording it read those ones. They see yoo xam ne the registration was not happening, the people are being registered. We've seen all of that. So loolu moo tax ñun ñu ne we didn't lose that election. It was stolen from us. It was rigged.
So you kañ ngeen ko xam after election bi?
After election bi because xam nga lu IEC didn't share the data. They gave us details. So do you see at the end of the month they will say we registered 250,000 people. The following month 500,000 people. The following month 750,000 people. 900,000 people. The problem ñun tamit mistake buñ daloon mooy ne we were not recording the registration numbers, the amount of people registering on a daily basis at the different registration centers. We were only targeting our polling agents were instructed to look for people who are not eligible to be registered. So they will give people that they suspect are foreigners who are not supposed to be registered. Those are the ones they were taking the details of, rather than how many people have you got registered at your station. If we had known all of that, we would know how many were actually registered at official centers and how many were registered outside of official centers.
So da nga jàpp ne comme IEC data bi ñu joxe is not correct wala yéen da ngeen jotul data bi and did you ask for it?
No, we asked for the data. Still now, our people haven't got the real data. You understand? They gave us data at the polling station with the master data, whatever. Yeah, they gave us that one before the presidential. But that is before the presidential. And that is after the court process. You gave us that one now. How do you expect us to be able to challenge that 2-3 days? In fact, when we got that, we were not, our attention didn't focus on this. It was after when the elections happened. And then we were like, nah, li munta nek. Because you get even the UDP hardlands, we were beaten in those ends. How is that possible? You talk about Busumbala, you talk about Birikama, you talk about in Bakau and Sukuta and all these places. We were beaten in combos. Those are our bases. Those are our home grounds. I know MPP did a lot of work through the help of Keba Ahmadi, Lamin Jata. They did a lot of work in those areas. Yes, they did. But the margin was not possible. We couldn't have lost that margin. We went to those places when we were campaigning. We've seen the numbers that were showing up at our campaign rallies. You cannot tell me those people just came just to fool us. It's not possible. And then you look at the percentage also. 90-something percentage turnout. It's not possible. Senegal, the Nyamon election, it was very tough. 64%. That's when the election is credible. That's where you look at the turnout margin. 54, 56,
so
60.
The turnout.
When you get a turnout of 100%, then you know that something is wrong with the system. It's just like Tanzania, the recent one, 97%. How is that even possible? It's not possible.
Okay. Some senior members resign from your party.
Which one, the UDP?
UDP, yes.
No, I'm going.
Then resign, gain as a part of the campaign manager. But excuse me, former campaign manager, my candidate be Lamun to Jai because of maybe that candidate is not sellable. Momunuko Jai. Because of since 1996, Nyunko Jai and then Muntujar, come unit election. Talib resign. So, you are a member of that party. No, affect.
No, Fogna, that is the best thing for the party at the moment. Because party be time going bokon si party be. Jinga so buge sampam bolo, sibir mbolo. They have been mbolo. That was what was happening. Talib wanted to build his own team. You hear camp. UDP was too much issue with camp. Camp Talib. And then the next minute, then in the camp Yankuba, it never exists. I didn't have no camp. They had a camp. Time you knew them, we have no camp. We have only one UDP. And we needed to have a united front for Nyumuna take on 2026 election. Without that, we cannot win that election. But Nyum, having been inside were distraction. They were only interested, I heard your interview with Pabi Lumwa. They have only one choice, and that is our candidate. Shunjelusun candidate will go out and form our own party. So that means Nyom, the salesman, was a bad salesman. He wasn't even selling the candidate. He was selling his own candidate. That's why he went with his candidate, Mune, because now he has a candidate he can sell. But when that candidate with him were in the party, with the candidate that we have, he said, I cannot sell that person. But he never declared that. For many, many years, that is, he could not sell that candidate. If anything, Lima Wahmoine, I believe we have a very good candidate with a very good track record. The problem is the people who are selling it don't want to sell the product that they have. But if you want to sell your product, you'll be able to sell it. Lulu, you can be able to sell it because who can you better sell easily in this country than Lawyer Darboe? Because any kerbunga dam si Gambia, Lawyer Darboe. They will tell you he's the opposition leader. He's been here for so long. You know what I mean? What they know him as opposition leader. What they don't know him yet is that of being the president of the country. But since then, have they had progress? That is the question. Because they are still struggling, country still going backward, the dollar is falling, price is increasing, and he's been telling them from day one, them again new chance, and then we change and transform this country. It's time that people realize that, look, definitely, and then we are always going with the apprentice. Because hamne Baro apprentice Lawyer Darboe. He was his apprentice. Talib Kubuga Tahoni, he also was an apprentice. You know what I mean? So you, lo buga, denga buga apprentice munyo japalazi, munyo listen na driver or you want the actual driver to do the driving. I think that is what should matter.
So you and Talib used to be maybe best friends. Comme ni ko doon gisee ci politique bi, what has changed? Gis nañ fi football match organize ñu dem ñu gis ñu bari jàpp ne KMC Mayo and BAC chairman bi relationship bi mu ngi neex ratax bot ñu toog rek gis chairman Mimbe Kering def interview boo xam ne like waaw so lu xew si diggante bi lu change bala ay flag bi ara issue bi yëpp di ñëw.
No, you know we were not best friends.
Waaw comme nu ko nit ñi gisee ñun noonu lañ ko jàppee.
We were I would say we were colleagues.
Okay.
But we were not best friends because apart from those interactions that we have, we don't actually talk. We don't actually talk like Momo call ma or man ma call ko. No, that wasn't there. Do you see what I mean? And then come Lima explain me. For me, I believe Talib wanted me to be part of his camp. That's what I believe. That's what he wanted.
So the flow Musawa.
Well, he said something. He didn't come direct, but indirectly, he said something like that. Because he said one time when we went to his compound, he talked about me, him, and London. And London is a witness to this. That if we decide who should lead, that the next election will be decided by us. Yes. He said that. London is a witness to that.
So you after.
No. For me, I think both me and London advise that whatever we need to do, we shouldn't rush on anything. And what we need to do is we need to wait for me, I always tell them that we need to try our level best to make sure we get Pabi in. You know what I mean? Because I know with the camp business, anyone that comes in there, it would have been a crisis. Many people would have gone, and then some people would be discouraged from supporting. It would have been very difficult for the party because it's how the whole camp thing was going on. It wasn't healthy. It was very bad. It was bad. So now that we closed that chapter in the party, I think now the party can breathe a sigh of relief and move forward. And they need to be able to move forward in order to win the election in this country. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, just like I said, I believe that was the main thing. They needed West Coast. They need to win West Coast to win the presidency. But this was part of their grand scheme of things, of literally imposing yourself as president of the country. And that's what I complain about on Pamodu. That's why I said what they're doing, if they succeed at that, I would not be, with good conscience, would not support them. I would have to leave the party on that, because that's what I said. I said, if they continue that way and the party allowed that, it makes no difference to what Barrow did. And then we condemn Barrow, we went after Barrow, and they're repeating the same thing, and you expect us to support that. Then we all have to go and apologize to Barrow. You see what I mean? Because that's not how it's supposed to be done. And then we heard what Pabi said. He even went to Pabi Mune, I want to have a mile or something between me and my
political rivals.
If you want a fair play, you don't do that. You allow your party to choose who they want to choose. You don't just start 100 miles ahead of everybody. Cheats do that. Cheats. They cheat like that. Not fair people who believe in fair play. You don't do that. You go with everybody. And then you allow people to have a chance. Even if you have 100 miles, if you go to IEC, you're not going to have 100 miles ahead of everybody. It's going to be the same. So you have to be willing to compete. When I came to West Coast, I competed with 15 people. In the campaign, I competed with 9 people. But I believe in that competition. I don't believe I should be cheating, I should be ahead of, no. I believe that the people of West Coast should be given a choice. And they have to make that decision. And I think Gambian people need to be given that choice. And the UDP too people need to be given a choice so that they can make the right choice. 2017, we came with Barrow. I'm not sure whether we made the right choice because Barrow ended up forming his own party. You see what I mean? Did we have other choices? I think we probably did. But you can also understand the climate then. Our whole party executive were in prison. Many other people are not willing or a bit scared to come and contest. And you've got to give credit to Barrow. He was bold enough to say, I'm going to go with it. He did, even though he went under the table, ran the left, right, and center, but at least we were able to get him to contest. That was something you have to give credit to. But at those times, where is everybody? That are now trying to say, I have to be the right candidate, I am the saleable one, I am the one who is going to win. No, I don't think that is the right thing.
Okay. Yena yi wax ne comme always dang dee tontu taalib wala su waxut ak yow sax sometimes nga binda react te moom publicly comme du binda wax lay wala du ton so comme mbir yu mel noonu ñu bëri jàpp ne yaa am ñu jàpp tamit ne xëy na Yankuba moom lu mu feel rek dafa génn rek wax ko moom wala yow la lu tax léeg-léeg ñu gis nga binda waaye moom duñ gis mu binda personally tudda la but yow sometimes nga binda even soo ko tudd directly but ku read message bi dina understand fan la message boobu jëm.
Yeah, but he has a surrogates, so many surrogates. Sometimes you would call them paid surrogates. You know, they are coming after us. We don't pay anybody to go after him. We defend ourselves. That's what we do. Before before we go after him, we were going after Darboe. We were going after Yahya Jammeh. That's what has been the hallmark of Young's Darboe. I've been going after anybody, but with positive energy though. I don't go for negative energy. Too much negative energy doesn't help. I fight because I feel like there's a better alternative to what somebody is doing. You see what I mean? And that alternative is what we need to follow. That is the right course or this and that. So I am not like him. I'm not going to send surrogates to go after Garmi. If Garmi does something wrong to me, I'll tell Garmi that this is what you've done. And you know, people also have to appreciate one thing. If you're so old on it, and then gomko, and then you trusted the person, you gave them, you have trust, you build confidence, and you give them something, a position, and that person betrayed that position. What do you think? You see, the one that betrays would want people to forget it and move on, because for him, he wants to close the chapter. But the one that is affected, it hurts that person. This is the reality. You understand? Darboe leaving UDP. Darboe moved on. He wants to castigate and this and that. He moved on, but for us, it's hard to move on because this is the guy we did so much for to get to somewhere. And then now did this to us. Not only that, but had been fighting us since that time to make sure we never get to occupy that position or to even fulfill or materialize the objectives or implement the objectives we had ever since. That is the reality. If you betray somebody, you would want to move on. You don't want to come back and fight that person. But that person, is it okay to think that that person would not be hurt, would just close the chapter like that? It's not like that. Understand? So that's the difference. With me, I'm not going to pay somebody to do that fight for me. I'll do it, even though people will say, no, you shouldn't be writing that. Wow. Leave that to us.
ñu bari dañuy wax loolu ne comme yang chairman la léegi leader la yenn bind yi ci Facebook bi yenn tontu yi nekkul ku nekk la war a tontu even bu fekkee ne am na neen nu mu ko war a defee lu bind.
But you know, I said,
and then ñoom ñenn ñuy wax loolu tamit am na ñoo xam ne say supporters lañ dee nekk ñoo xam ne dañ la dee nuñ ko sa sympathiser la ñoo nekk. Maybe dañu gis ne oh I love Yankuba so much waaye léeg-léeg tontu bi fii man gënalun ma so.
No, but yeah. we are in politics. I lived
because moom mu ne President Barrow rek la moo tontu.
Yeah, but well, if he wants to do that, that is fine for him. But we are not going to say, no, we are not going to turn to anybody who comes after us. His people are not directing against Barrow or this, and they are coming after us. We are their problem. They have people 24/7 paid to come after us. What do you expect us to do? Sit down and say, oh, we're not going to say anything. We're going to just keep quiet. No, but that is politics. You know, politics anywhere in the world, narratives are very important. You don't let your opponents run with narratives. And when these people decamped from UDP, they're no longer UDP. They become our rivals. We are in a rivalry fighting for one position. Barrow is in that position. He wants to keep it. They want to take it. We don't want them to have it. We want it to come to us. What do you want us to do? But to come Limalawa, one who betrays never wants to talk about that betrayal. He wants to close that chapter. But that's what he did. What's the other word to describe what they did?
Political divorce la rek comme.
No, it's not a divorce. You made the pabi wana def ko gomlo lo hamne nekufa. He made them believe what doesn't exist.
So ndax yow mus nga gis ne li dina happen comme lu Talib def ni comme yow mus nga foog ne Talib dina def.
No, when man dem na see radio see and I told them, you know that these people what they're doing is not good for the body, because you go to, let's say they go on a tour. You see, we will go on a tour. We will not see the party leader's picture on the t-shirts. It's Talib's pictures on the t-shirts. What is that telling people? Talib is the leader of UDP, is the flag bearer, is this and that. You understand? So now, coming in 2026, even if you bring in another candidate, how are you going to change those people's mind? This is what is happening. That mile, give me a mile before anyone else. It's a very bad one.
All right. Ousainou Darboe, His Excellency Ousainou Darboe moo nekk seen candidate again muy flag bearer bi but ñeneen yi ñu bari di wax ne ok UDP election si du ko win comme ñeneen ñi loolu lañ nekk even President Barrow moom loolu la believe moom dafa jàpp ne rematch la moo nekk te rematch bi result si dafa nekkaat di same comme nu mu nekkee woon 2021 ba sax mu ngi wax ne na Darboe ñëw join ko su yu mel noonu. Yeah, so lan la UDP plan pour def lu different from 1996 ba 2021 2026 lan la UDP plan pour def loo xam ne xëy na mooy nekk loo xam ne nag bii mooy tax UDP succeed.
We will not tell them all our plans.
Okay.
But what I will tell you is 2026, comme Limala explained before, it's going to be a surprise for a lot of people. Because they are complacent, they are very much happy, they believe that they won already. They don't even need to campaign or anything. But if that is the case, why are they politicking still? Why are they trying to register people from outside the Gambia, giving them ID cards? For no other reason. Because Kuneka Sibiti, Sohla would ID card. So Sohla, any document, it would have to be a passport. Not I them for the ID card. But they're doing it because they want those people to be able to come and then register and vote for them. That's what they're doing.
So ñoom nan lañ mën a xamee ni ñooñu ñëpp dañ leen di votal comme ñu ñoo jox voter card ID card ñooy ñëw yëpp.
You see the way these people operate, it's a bit sophisticated. Because if you have, let's say 900,000 voters, and let's say next election you're able to register, comme le mala explain it, you get registration centers we are not aware. You see what I mean? So you then now increase that from 900 to maybe 1.3 million next year. Because because you see they do with figures, they calculate. The first time the calculation was about 300,000. Now that 300,000 now, the problem is they don't believe that they can count on that 300,000. You understand? So many things change. Macky Sall is no longer in Senegal. Those in Senegal, would Ousmane Sonko and Pastef allow them to come after what Pastef themselves did? And this is what we will tell them. You told your own people when you were having elections in Senegal, you told foreigners, anybody who comes, you will kill them. Don't come and vote in there. So it is not fair. You allow your people to come and vote for Gambian in Gambian election. Bohamne, it is not their election. Li lo hamne la ware kati itame dañ wara preach niti pour ñu hamne if you come out of your country, you go and vote in another country and you give them nguur bo hamne dina toroxal gaay yow bamel nga wara dem de safara nga dem so they and they need to preach them so that they understand that this mercenary voter thing is evil. It's very, very bad. Ñun you wara dundal that nguur time. Ñun ñoo wara def suñ own voting. You see what I mean? So what I'm saying is we believe they cannot count on that 300,000 that they registered before. So they now need to do additional more.
So ñoom niñ ko mën a defee IEC independent body la NPP nu mu mën a defee loolu and then IEC mu ngi nekk an independent body. ñoom nga xam ne ñoom leen jox pour ñu manage anything that has to do with election registration voting so nan la NPP mën a defee
that's why I wish case bi Supreme Court nangu woon then you would have seen all those registration bu happen on outside of the registration period. I still have them.
So the Kondangabo IC complicit like?
They have to be. They cannot exonerate themselves because the registration is conducted, they have the registration machine, or maybe the Canadian company they are partnering with created another one and give it to MPP to do more. But the reality is registrations happen outside of the official times. And they also happen outside of the official centers. We have that evidence from their own IEC document they disclose to us.
So, Laurent is different because correction went from 1996 to 2021.
So, 2021,
yes.
2026. 2026, a lot of things change. So, now, if people should voting for Barrow would give them a better, because they thought many who voted for them, people voted for them too. Guy, you vote on they would create they were a better option to UDP. I believe many of them, upon reflection of what happened in the last 5 years, are thinking this is not the government that we will give them. So, how do you tap into that? There's a lot going on. I'm not going to disclose that. But there's a lot going on.
You have plans for 2026? Plans
for 2026. But one thing we will have to do is we'll have to defend the votes. We'll have to make sure those who are ineligible to vote should not vote and cannot vote.
Moy ñi nga xamne amuñ voters card.
They are given ID cards to and then expecting them to come and register.
No, why ku am voter card, am ID card. Wala nga am ID card, defe naa ne.
No, you have voters card. You vote a last one. Come, let me explain. Nyom, they are not our biggest problem. You know why? Because Nyom, except those Yohamne, they are living out of our borders. Understand? Come, Gayuneka in villages in Casamance, in Senegal, and on border villages, Yohamne, during election period, they come in. We've seen Gelegeles going inside Casamance and picking people and bringing them only to vote in the Gambia. Lolo hewona in Jara Sukuta we had people
there. No, Senegal ak Gambia ñu jégué wante japplo ni tamit amna yene Gambians comme ñu nekké America nekké ko UK nekké ko fenen ak fenen non lañ ko nekké bir Senegal bu vote joté ñu ñew pour vote.
No, because su fekkee lolu la a sitting MP will not say it in Parliament Senegal. ñun ñëpp déggoon nañ di sitting MP in Sénégal mu ne Gambian document moo gën a yomba pour am especially around election mu ne ñun suñ boor when election are coming everybody goes to Gambia and they get the ID card. Those are not Gambians, they are Senegalese.
yaa foog loolu lañ war a mën a xoolaat ba waaye ku am voters card am ba pare wala ID card foog naa ko kenn waru ko mën a stop.
non ji nga ñun ku nekk ci Gambia whether you are Gan you are citizen. If you have a voter's card yaa ngi Gambia war ngaa bokk ci election bi.
waaye soo nekkee outside nag.
am nga lu daañu wax loolu. because coono bu ñoo dundal ñun ñaar yi ñoo ko dundal together. But soo nekkee outside Gambia you are a mercenary voter, you are not a Gambian voter. ji nga UK man I have been in the UK soo nekkee for 3 years or 4 years they allow you to vote. You understand? You have certain document, you are allowed to vote because they know you're going to be affected by the decision you make. So you will make an informed decision. You nekk Gambia, this is your base, vote. But if we know you, we know that you are in Gambia, you live with us, we are all going through the same struggle. We are happy that, but you don't have any business in Gambia. You only come just to vote and go. And then nekutsa, then you vote with your own conscience. But kena mola wane, then our vote si ballot box couleur B or couleur ballot. That one we should not accept that. That's what we're going to do this year. But first we are going to appeal to Senegalese government. You make sure they stop that.
Yeah, because Sonko, after voting, I was right there. Declaration after casting his vote,
anyone
mu ñëw gis kenn ku bokkut fii mu ñëw vote
exactly ñun tamit loolu lañ bëgga dañ bëgga Sonko not only apply that policy.
Baro tamit du bëgg loolu Baro tamit du bëgg kenn ku bëgg
non Baro mu ngi encourage loolu xanaa gis loo MP bi mu ne Baro government bi ñoo dee def loolu.
all right lan nga foog ne nga gëm bi nga am ne UDP dañ ko war a jox chance ne UDP moo is the solution.
Because we will fight corruption. That's what is killing this country. We will fight corruption. We have an old man, Pa bi boo xam ne léegi fu mu nekk nii he had lived almost all of his life. He is not planning on building a story building. He's not planning on buying a nice car to go on holiday or this and no. He wants to just serve, leave a legacy, and then build a foundation boo xam ne future generation can come and continue the work. That's what he wants to do. And I think that's what, he's not going to be there to eat people's money. And we all know, number one problem in Gambia is corruption. That's what is killing us. You fix all of those big holes that we have at State House and all the other government ministries, we'll be able to save money in the central bank. We'll be able to pay back our debt. We will not have the stress of debt, and the way we are going, very soon we'll have a debt distress, and that is going to affect the dalasi. It's going to affect everything. So if you're thinking the dalasi is falling against CFA, give these people another 5 years. They will give it then go ML like CFA the same thing. You give them another 5 years, then ML CFA and dalasi on the same value, because they've done everything they can. If someone go hamne, you give him 10 years to work and he has failed. What makes you believe in it? They gave 5 years. Okay. So you 5 years. Gajoko 10 years. He didn't do anything.
So UDP nan la mo def pour convince the undecided voters comme ñu bari dañu japp ne UDP fofu problème am la comme am na ñu japp ne OK UDP su nekkul di biggest party tamit party gënul ko reuy fi si réew mi experience bi yagana bot sometimes dafay fail to convince ñi nga xam ne bokkuñ ci moom comme always da nga dégg their base is unshakable but to convince outsiders comme ñu ko xam ne bokkut ci
the problem that we had previously mooy ne the narrative loolu moo tax ma ne la narrative is very important to counter. Narrative bu ñu doon def mooy ne waa UDP bëgguñ leen su ñëwee dinañ daaxa yéena yi dinañ def lii ak all these things. That was something which we did not counter. When the 2026, duñ ragal ken pour counter, anybody who thrown that at us, we will counter it. And we will make sure, niti hamne, for example, man, I was voted by all Heti Uneka West Coast. You understand? Ken won't mane, then ma bang, because the maneka source. And then what I am doing, ken munuta wane, de ma bang any head si West Coast. We gave it to make sure every head Boneka West Coast get their fair share back from their council. And that's what we want in the central government. Everybody, regardless of your age, your skin color, your tribe, your religion, what is yours supposed to get back to you? Your fair share needs to come back to you in terms of jobs, development, economic emancipation, all lot of things. Mun nañ def lii, we can do this. Mun nañ def lii. Mun nañ koo def. UDP mun nañ koo def. And then problem bu ñu amoon mooy ne nit yi dañ nekkoon duñ tuumal, and then we were just silent. And then the funny thing is our people keep saying 10-point agenda, 5-point agenda. Man, I don't have no agenda. What I have to do, and then luñ war a def, I believe as a campaign strategy is very simple. Nañ won nit yi, nañ remind nit yi the 5 years of Barrow from 2021 to 2026. Burik is enough for people to learn from. Okay. 5 years, just 5 years, not the 10 years. 5 years, this 5 years, when conclude any. Cement price, fan la nekk, fu mu nekkoon balaa 2021, fu mu nekk léegi. Saaku maalo, yeah, dalasi to this thing. CFA. Barrow ñaata youths la promise ne dina jox leen liggéey fii, ñaata nit la jox liggéey,
Doctor Cissé mu ne data bi nañ ko génne because foog naa àgg nañ léegi di 500,000.
Guy, I'm on Ben data. The last one, they are sending people to Spain. Now, look at how many of our youths know they see back maybe from 5 years. The first 5 years of Barrow, youth see you don't want them. Can do them back with. Hola lu wa nyomi and Badibo and other place dalon when ferry be amon problem. Siberia where called. You maggot, they had to be placed on a young youth, a soldier. In the last 5 years. Agriculture, pharmacy. This year, a guy among the worst in their life. They said you have to go to Q money or Q cell. You go to this Q cell branch, you know no fear mud halis, demal benen bunega fale in Farafeni. People were roaming from one place and then spending more money and not getting their money back. That all happened in the last 5 years on the Barrow government. So we have to make people understand, to remember, is this what you want another 5 years or you want to change? Because Barrow nyom, mununyo indil change. And we talk about the millions that have gone missing everywhere.
So Barrow changes be, tali, yon be, infrastructure.
And then the millions, because we know why they're going for infrastructure. Kickbacks. You give us infrastructure, 30% or 20%, we have money. But if we give it to the poor people to get out of poverty, we don't get anything back from them. So that's why they're not worried about the welfare of the people. They're only worried about development, capital project, and infrastructure. Even though the budget and the revenue has a big gap. You yange leb halis bi just to sampayon. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you're not getting anything back from those yons. How is your economy going to sustain itself? Do you see what I mean? Like for example, where they're having little money, new mortgage bob, port mortgage ko Turkey. The Senegambia bridge mortgage ko Africa, I don't know which investment.
Africa 50.
Africa 50. And then which other one is left? Anything, the next thing they're talking about Gamtel. What is going to be left of Gambia?
All right.
The next thing they will mortgage the whole country.
Two more questions, Chairman. Will you run for a second term?
Will I run for second term?
Yeah.
I have not made that decision yet. I have not made that decision yet. For a second term, I have not. That's why the way I work is to build precedent so that the statistics, the data, everything will be there to empower the next generation. Whoever comes will find it much more easier and smoother to run the council than we have had. We paved the way for them. Let them do the development. That's what we are looking for.
2031, Yankuba flag bearer, UDP.
That's what they are saying. Yankuba flag bearer.
And some of them, some people are even saying, well, let me say this: political analysts, Yankuba is the typical UDP member, or is one of the typical UDP members. Typical UDP member.
I don't know what they mean by typical.
Like who believe UDP. Like so lale UDP dafa melni donc ko sanni xer like dafa melni wounded lion.
UDP we went through a lot as a party. We went through so much pain, so much. My own brother was, I wouldn't say was killed, but died as a result of the UDP because he was detained. When guy detained Nyom Pabi, they didn't even take him to court. They just locked him up at NIA. Best book guy sentenced Nyom Pabi, they put him in mile 2, gave him the same justice like Nyom Pabi, and then that's how he was there. Uncared for, people didn't even know, came out with a medical condition, we tried to treat it, he couldn't survive it. So we went through so much for this party, and then we don't want to let all of that to be destroyed, to go in vain. People sacrifice so much because they believe in the UDP project. And that project is the emancipation of the Gambia. from all these economic crises and everything. That's what we go into politics for. That's why I left UK, I came and then started that struggle in Brikama to get us out of where we were. And we got ourselves somewhere. And I believe Dekabi is in another Guta Bohamne. If we bring UDP, Munnan go gain from that. And I want people to give that opportunity to us. These are things that these people excuses you rely on. Why MPP, I affair, then ban, then knee. I don't think people will buy that anymore because they have seen us. Like you said, I am typical UDP. If a typical UDP can do what we did in Brikama, he should tell everybody in a typical UDP if they can do that in central government. Then Gambia again.
Okay. So 2031. The flag bearer tell because politics mom guy.
No, 2031. I have not put myself a flag bearer position at any point. I would leave that. You know, man lema gommoine. Yalla mode tunnel net. Like Basiru Jomai Fai said. So yalla buge bi. Even so ko banye, he will put you there. You don't have a choice. So I don't know. 2031 is I'm looking at 2026. So UDP win. So win 2026. Yes, it's a possibility. It's a possibility, yes. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. If we lose, you know, who knows? We might just be completely discouraged from politics and leave completely and say, Gambians don't want to change. You know what I mean? All of that is a possibility. But what we want, and that's why we want people to really, we need to think carefully about the challenges we have as a country.
All right, thank you so much, Chairman. Kontaan nañu trop am la tey Doctor Eyeafrica TV bu fekkee am nga any message boo xam ne bëgg nga koo jàllale so you are good to go.
So bëgg naa gërëm everyone bëgg naa gërëm yow sa boppa and then the whole team ngeen am na Eyeafrica TV maa ngi jégalu suma mbokki déglukat wolof yi at least my wolof is not very good wante xam naa ne balaa 20 balaa ñu dugg ci campagne bi xëj na suma wolof bi dafa set at that time.
You have improved a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The first time munuma even express. I cannot even hear when you speak.
That is right.
Wante léegi lower in wolof I can hear it and then mun naa tontu. Sometimes some yena words they can be very
and it is fine.
My vocabulary is what I am building on. You know, so xam naa ne bala next year xëj na at that point mun naa like a proper.
Mashallah.
Wante maa ngi jàngal wolof yi ci kaw yi de wolof Banjul ak wolof yi so
Mashallah. Yeah. Thank you so very much. Tey ki lañ amoon on Doctor Eyeafrica chairman Yankuba Darboe chairman bu Brikama Area Council West Coast yëpp di ko gërëm bu baax a baax di gërëm itam communication team bu UDP ñoo ci jàpp ba ñu mën ko am starté ko ci Seeku Camara ñoom ñëpp ñoom ñu ci jàpp ñëpp xam nañ ko so ñoom ñëpp maa ngi leen di gërëm ci loolu di gërëm tamit techniciens yi nga xam ne ñoom laay àndal ci programme bi Basini Kanté bu série Khadija si Manga ñu ñëpp di leen gërëm di gërëm tamit Sonko Gambia moom is part of Eyeafrica so moom tamit play na a very vital role pour ñu mun a am chairman tey ci suñ studio ci Eyeafrica so di leen balaa ma leen dig daje sax I will not do justice suma tuddut ki nga xam ne moom ma sañseel yére bu rafet bi nga xam ne man maa nekk seen brand ambassador muy Mamas design nga xam ne moom a ñawal yére bi ku ci bëgg rek yu mel nii wala yu ko dàqa sax mun ngeen ko am ci moom mu ngi nekk foofu ci kololi xam naa people's chairman comme ni ko gars yi waxee di nga ko patronize yow tamit Mamas design mu ngi nekk kololi 7878 869 7878 869 mooy nombre téléphone bi foofu ci kololi la Mamas design nekk kon mbokk yi ñu dig leen daje beneen ajuma ci Doctor Eyeafrica TV jaa ngeen jëf